Hello. Allow me to be upfront and personal. 26 years ago, I had a radical vulvectomy, which was the removal of my clitoris, vulva, and lymph glands. And when I turned to the society after that, most people called their vulva as a vagina, and there was all this shame and stigma, and I still feel exists today. So, in the meantime, I've established an International Gynecological Awareness Day, which King Edward Hospital, our women's hospital, have celebrated for 7 years just to pave the way. But there's still a lot of stigma and shame and embarrassment that is out there. And a lot of people say to me, well, it's not like that in this day and age. Well, let me tell you, there's a lot of suffering in silence. So I want to share a story that have been requested for me to share with the world. I have seen women dying from vulval cancer over the years. I didn't die. And last year, Lynette Allard, she died of lichen sclerosus affected her, so causing vulval cancer. And she appealed to me to keep on sharing the message about vulval health. Um, I know that there's a lot, lichen sclerosus was a risk factor, and even with some cancer centres, they don't even put in their risk factors that lichen sclerosus can be a risk factor. So, consequently, I want to read you this story, and this is just one of the millions of women who have lichen sclerosus out there in the world. I actually didn't have lichen sclerosus, I had a lump, and so there's different risk factors for vulval cancer. But I want to share you Diann story about lichen sclerosus from beginning to first cancer. This is incredibly hard to write, as I will uncover many emotions and share very many private, intimate things. My story is real, explicit, and graphic. I'm only sharing this because I know I'm not the only one to suffer with this unprovoked immune system disease. I will be technical, so my readers will know properly vocabulary to share with others and their medical providers. Time is not on our side, as LS is a chronic disease, and like most other autoimmune diseases, it can rip your life apart, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. Studies have shown this disease affects prepubescent and premenopausal women with low estrogen or those that have been traumatized, although uncircumcised men may also develop it. This disease was discovered in 1887. It's not discussed or highly studied and does not get many grants for research because it affects mainly our vulvar genitals. LS is categorized as a rare disease. It is estimated that LS will affect 1 in 70 women. However, this is not accurate because that is only the women who have been correctly diagnosed, and the numbers are expected to be much higher if the doctors in nursing homes and those underprivileged areas that cannot get regular medical care were examined. Yes, the V word. Oh, not the vagina. The skin that is next to the vaginal opening that gets puffy when aroused. It is important to know this disease does not affect the vagina. So when you speak with your practitioner, you describe where the pain and burning and itching are. Lichen sclerosus is relentless with its symptoms and need to be treated properly and continuously. If not, the skin breaks down and may become squamous cell carcinoma. Yes, skin cancer. If cancer develops and invades the lymph nodes, reportedly it goes through the lymph nodes into the lung cancer. 4 to 6% of women with lichen sclerosus will develop cancer if not properly treated. Women who are diagnosed with vulval cancer have a 60% chance of having lichen sclerosus. My personal story starts in the 1970s. After having 2 babies, we noticed that my perineum, the area where the epitotomies and the skin between the vagina and the rectum are, would tear like paper cuts without extension. My husband and I assumed this were due to delivering large babies, 8 pounds, then 10 pounds. Both were forceps delivery. Well, at least we have 2 beautiful, healthy babies, God's gift, and a little souvenir to remember. This souvenir came with lasting anguish. To urinate or to have active moments like climbing stairs or a ladder would hurt. I'm not saying uncomfortable, I'm saying hurt, capital letters. Then we must not forget our monthly cycle. Oh goodness, to wear a pad and try to clean and refresh multiple times a day and urinating. Ouch. The burning is what could be left feel if salt got into the open wound, but this is my private land. Wearing tampons was not easier. Trying to get the applicator close enough to insert into the vagina. Sorry, I'll just have a drink. 1995, after I started a new job, I had some health changes. Besides this forever itching and burning, we discovered that my thyroid was very low, near non-existent. I was overstressed, exhausted, and not feeling right. Then I thought I had developed the mother of all mother infections, yeast infections. Nothing over the counter was helping. The tearing, the burning were there, too with new itching. Oh, my itching got to the point that I just wanted to peel the skin right off. This condition would bring tears to my eyes at night. Finally, I went to my gynecologist for help. He told me I had lichen sclerosus. He gave me a list of what not to wear and a prescription for the ultra-potent steroid. My vulval area was so inflamed and raw that plain water hurt to wash with. At night, the itching was so severe that when I would wake, my fingers and sheets would have blood in them. Please understand that back in the 1990s, there was not much information accessible, both in print or online. I did find in a pathology book from my employer that the skin affected by this thins and tears easily. Yup, that's me. The warning papers in the clobesterol indicated ultra-potent steroid. Why would I use an ultra-potent steroid that thins the skin on already thinned and torn skin? I would use it for major flare-ups by episodes. Bad idea, capital letters. You will know why later. I kept my yearly checkups and pain got worse. No, I did not use a mirror at the time to watch my labia disappear or the skin change colour from healthy pink to angry red and white blanched patches. Around 3 years later, I saw a dermatologist that said I did not have cancer and she referred me back to the gynecologist. At this point, there was no intercourse. I had a case of depression. I lived with chronic pain and tired to work full-time job, be a mother of a teen and wife. My gynecologist assures me that there are other ways of being sexually gratified and work around these issues. But I hurt, she says. Do you not understand that? The vulval area is getting worse at night, and I would undress and lay under the fan, spread eagle, so nothing would touch, weeping from the previous 10 hours. I have a wonderful life at this point. Is that what was in store for me? This is the progression of lichen sclerosus. Lord, I know that people may have it worse. I understand. I will try to accept this is what I have. Approximately 2005, I had a white mountain chain, a piece of skin removed from my vulva. I had thought it was going to a lab for pathology. We had always worked on no news is good news. I still had a grasp of seriousness of this chronic debilitating disease. We had tried a few other ointments, but it only mildly calmed down. My doctor did not, at the time, take photos of my tissue change, and I was not fully aware what to look for, so we went another year. My paps were all normal. In 2007, I was hospitalized for tests to see what nodules were in my lungs. By process of elimination, the doctors said I had sarcoidosis, another immune. So I continued to try to live the best I can and enjoy my grandchildren. I then developed MRSA twice and had adhesive capsulitis of my shoulder. After ruling out lupus, Lyme disease, and RA, we discovered that my vitamin D was the level of rickets. if I had been a child. In May 2008, I have an annual exam, breast and fine and pap smear clear, labia skin still raw, discoloured and disfigured. But the doctor doesn't say anything, is out of the ordinary. Forward time to Thanksgiving. I am so sore I can hardly stand, walk or sit. My genitalia are so swollen and inflamed I cry secretly when I'm alone. The first week of December I try to reach my gynecologist, but he isn't in. So I call my primary care, who has no idea of what I have been living with. She does a look at and see, offers me pain meds, prednisone, and say you had this biopsied. I said yes, it's lichen sclerosus. I'm on my way. Made it through the holidays as the steroid reduced some of the inflammation. My social life has dwindled. My friends and I make plans, but always with the contingent that I may back out. I could go to the ER crying and say my crutch hurts, but I just saw the GYN a few months back, so that what's the sense? The new year comes and I decide to share with my current dermatologist what I have below. Of course, first I ask his staff if he treats skin in the genital area. I didn't know. So he does an exam and says I should have a biopsy done. We wait a few weeks for the inflammation to go down. The week of my 54th birthday, I showed up at his office at 6 a.m. asking if he had time to please do the biopsy. Oh man, was I scared. But the pain I was living with was always at 7 at that time. I hadn't had a lot of other pain in my life to compare it with by then. The week of our 36th wedding anniversary, my pathology report came back. I have squamous cell carcinoma of the vulva. I wept. He was so compassionate and understanding. He said, "Let me help you. I will make some calls as I don't want you to go just anywhere to get butchered." Interesting. I had more labs and tests to have done. Life was a whirlwind. All I could think of was get this cancer out of me. We had no idea how bad it was at this point. I had a consult with the largest hospital in the area. I consented to have a wide excision biopsy done. The doctor and I had a disagreement in pre-op. He wanted to remove all the cancer at once, but if it wasn't too severe. I said I'm not mentally prepared to lose all my female genitals today. I had my adult son take me to the appointment. I needed time to wrap my head around this. Finally, I won. I did not stay with him though. I put my towel between my legs and asked my dermo to please try for U of M where he originally wanted me to go. I had my consult there and was told, based on the information from the other hospital, this would be life altering. I chuckled. How much more could my life get altered? We did another wide excision biopsy, so much easier than the first. I went home with a folly this time, which made urinating easier for the first time in years. When she called back 2 weeks later, the cancer was more involved than originally thought. She felt confident that she could remove all the involved skin without chemo or radiation, but this would be more disfiguring than the disease itself. What do I care? I want to live. Haven't been able to have sex for many years. Anyway, the lichen sclerosus took away all the labia lips. The cancer took away my clitoris and hood. It was deep enough that she removed all the lymph nodes. While lying in bed waiting for my biopsy results, I begged God to take care of my granddaughters and whatever He had in store for me, I could accept, but guide the girls through. There had been a lot of trauma bestowed on them in the last 10 years. I also promised Him that I would try to spread the word of the disease and help to save women from this merciless disease. I will summarize my story now, although the saga of cancer continues into 2016. I understand that if you treat lichen sclerosus early and follow a maintained regime, your success should be much better than mine. But I'm alive and I still try to keep my promise to God. Please help me spread the word. Lichen sclerosus. Women have died because of this disease not being treated properly and developing SCC. Upon reading this, please do not feel sorry for me. I did not follow the doctor's orders because I was beyond afraid. I did not ask questions back then. My original gynecologist dropped the ball also by not sending me a specimen to pathology, or did he have notes written in detail to notice the change in colour and sores? Do I know my disease went to VIN, pre-cancer? No. Do I know how long I had squamous cell? No. But none of this matters anymore. What does matter is this. You can be more educated about this than I was. There was research available. Make the time to read it. Ask questions, both of your doctor and ladies that you can meet on the National Support Group. Follow the recommended protocol. Talk to your doctor about alternative for you. Keep a diary of your symptoms, lifestyle, and at least monthly self-exam. Use a digital camera, phone, and private SIM card to record your anatomy changes. Please forward this to women on your contact list and social media. The next life you help could be yours or your loved one. There is a genetic factor that they are trying to pinpoint. A very strong connection is autoimmune disease and lowered estrogen. Please note that if you have any more questions, please reach me on Facebook or private message me. I will help guide you to more resources. I set up an email account specifically to find resources. lsresources8@gmail.com. That's lsresources8@gmail.com. Our awareness ribbon is being introduced, and it's purple and white with white dots in the shape of the figure 8. LS's nickname, the white spot disease, or the figure 8, as it often entails the clitoral hood around the labia, through the perineum, to the anus, and up the other side. So that's the end of Diann Czismadia's story. And sorry if I got a bit emotional myself, because I know exactly what she has gone through. I didn't have lichen sclerosus, but I did have my genitals removed. But Lynette Ella died last year, and I can tell you, it's only supposed to happen to 1 in 100,000 women with vulval cancer. But I question the statistics. If lichen sclerosus is supposed to be 1 in 80 women, that's a lot of women that have these conditions. That's a lot of doctors that do not have the knowledge that needs to be out there for them to understand. So I'm asking if you could raise some of these issues within your own community and put it high on your agenda. But it's not just about the vulval issues, it's about the all gynecological health issues like polycystic ovaries, endometriosis, fibroids, prolapse, menopause, sexually transmitted infection, vulval conditions. We as women need to demand that we have better information and more research, and we need to get rid of some of this shame and embarrassment that still exists in the world today. So I do apologize if I have become a bit emotional in this, but I'm asking you to use the International Gynecological Awareness Day in your community, and please help these millions upon millions of women in the world with gynecological health issues. So don't hesitate to contact me on kathmazzella.com, and let's see how we can progress into the year 2021 and divulge some of these underlying issues. So let's talk about the men here. You may well sort of think, well, this is a woman's issue, but my husband had 5 bypasses 2 years after my operation when he was 49. And when I was reading Diann's letter just there, I was thinking about her husband and her sons and the daughter. What's going on? Why is this still so taboo in this day and age? So it's time for change, and I'm really looking forward to being able to see how these changes progress, and with your support. So thank you very much for listening, and please help share the message. Thank you. Bye.